all your ready now. Stay locked in between the lines with Coach Stella.
Welcome back. Another episode of Between the Lines with Coach Stella. I'm Linnell, and I'm here with our esteemed host, namesake of the show, Coach Stella. How you feeling today, bro?
Feeling great, bro. How you feeling, baby?
I'm feeling good.
Week 9, getting ready for week 9, baby.
Man, week 9.
Let's do it.
It seemed like the season just started.
Bro, I feel like we was just talking, mapping out how we wanted to talk about the road to stay and the previews, and here we go, week 9, getting ready for the playoffs in a couple weeks, baby.
Indeed. It hasn't been a disappointing season either, man. We had an opportunity. Our games of the week been
crazy.
Been firecracker hot.
Yep.
We got to watch some of the the most talented players in Northeast Ohio, those talented players in Ohio, arguably the country in some cases. So, no complaints from my seat.
Man, I love it, man. Like you said, the atmosphere has been great. Hospitality been great everywhere we go. People taking care of us. The support been off the hook this year.
Indeed.
And like you said, we get to cover some of the best football players in the country, in the state, and definitely in Northeast Ohio.
For sure.
It's go time, baby. Let's do it.
Let's do it. So we're going to start it off with the Stellascope recap, man.
You know it, bro. We just hop right into it, man. We had 3 games last week. You know what I mean? We wanted the fans out there to keep an eye on. First game, Glenville and Hoban. Hoban coming off a loss at Wash Jesuit. End up coming back, getting the win against Glenville 20-0. Hoban's defense pretty much dominated the game. They put up a donut. They dominated the game. Eli Lee, Ohio State commit, 9 tackles, 3 TFLs, 2 sacks. As a whole, they only gave up 110 total yards in the game. So the defense dominated, and they only gave up 36 yards rushing. And we know Glenville want to start with that rushing attack before they start passing the ball. So the fact they only give up 36 yards rushing, that's tough for Glenville. I'm pretty sure the backup quarterback, Marquise Greenwood, went 9 of 26. So that's just a recipe of disaster for Glenville. But the Hoban defense did their thing. Juice had a pick. Tanner Mintz had a forced fumble. And like I said, we talked about Eli Lee patrolling the middle, do what he do. Ace Brown coming off the edge, you know what I mean, playing that split side defensive end, creating havoc like he always do. So Hoban's defense pretty much was the story of the night. They did go with a new starter, Trent Hayden, like we talked about last week, but the offense is still kind of sputtering. New quarterback this week, though, so you expect it to be a little slow. But I know going into week 9, week 10, and into the playoffs, I know coaches want to really get that offense going. Because as good as your defense is, I mean, any given Friday, any given Saturday, your defense can have an off night. And sometimes your offense got to play better than they expected. So defense did their thing in that game. You know what I mean? Offense sputtered like they did the week before. But all in all, they got the win. Glenville, their defense played well also. They only gave up 20, both off of short fields. First drive was 6 play, 37 yards. And I want to say the second one was like 1 or 2 yards. So it's not like Glenville's defense played bad at all. Hoban didn't put together no drives where they drove the field, got momentum, got first downs, and eventually scored touchdowns. They didn't do that. So Glenville defensively played well, offensively struggled. Like we said, only 36 total yards rushing, 110 total. They got a little bit going. They put C.J. Newell at the Wildcat quarterback. He got going a little bit, but all in all, it wasn't enough. So in our first game recap, Glenville and Hoban got the dub 20-0. Second game, Fitz traveled to Erie McDowell. This was a great game. McDowell ended up winning 38-35. McDowell's starting quarterback, I don't know if y'all seen the stats, Blaze Myers threw for 401 and 4 touchdowns. So he went to work. As a team, they had 533 total yards. So it wasn't a lot of defense getting played by either team. On the other side, Fitch had 512 total yards. Second week, they went with quarterback Colin Callahar. He did his thing again. 11-18, 205 yards, 2 touchdowns. DeAndre Richards, 29 rushes, 251 yards, 2 touchdowns. So again, there wasn't a lot of defense getting played on either side. Playmakers making plays on both sides. Junie Higgs made plays as always. Brady Evans making plays. Give me a couple weeks, Fitch fans. I got to get this name together, number 6 for Fitch. I'm not going to get on here and disrespect him or the family and tear up his name. But the kid been making plays. Young kid, he got a chance to be really good. He been making plays often also. So you can see the offense coming together for Fitch since they made the quarterback switch. They looked better last week. This week they put up 35 on the road. Defensively, though, of course, they took a step back this week. You know what I mean? You can't give up 38 points. Also, Fitch scored to put themselves up 35-31 with 3:08 to go in the fourth quarter. You know what I mean?
Can't stop nothing.
McDowell ended up going on a 13-play, 80-yard drive, scored with a second left to go in the game. Like, as a coach, outside of scoring with no time on the clock, it don't get no better than that.
Right.
Scored with 1 second left on the game, and then that was the score to put them over the top and end up getting the win. So all in all, it seemed like it was a big-time atmosphere, great game. Fitch was on the losing side of it. Both teams 6-2 now. Fitch is playing better offensively. Defensively, they've been playing well all year. Like I just talked about it, this might be in that game that didn't play well because they normally play well. Even when they lost to Ursuline a couple weeks ago, the defense wasn't bad. I think in the second half, they kind of, it's kind of tough to keep going out there and over playing Ursuline and expecting to get stops. But all in all, Fitch is playing a little bit better, especially offensively. They just got to get the defense back on track. And the last game was Camp McKinley versus Lake, Federal League game. Camp McKinley won 35-21, clinched the share of the Federal League title. I know they want to win next week so they can get the outright title, but they end up clinching the share of the title in the Federal League. It was up 14-7 at the half. They was up 35-7 going into the fourth quarter. I don't know if you've seen after their last touchdown, they onside kicked, which I don't understand that. But again, I wasn't there, so it could have been a mistake by the kicker. I don't know if it necessarily was a call coming from the sideline, but that set up Lake's second touchdown. Lake ended up getting another one at the end and closing the gap to 35-21. But all in all, Camp McKinley is playing well right now. Quarterback Cam Montgomery, we talked about him last week on the Stella Stock Report. He's playing some big-time football. They're getting the ball back to Keith Quincy at receiver. He had a big-time game. He had 6 for 112 and a touchdown. Darius Hill, young sophomore receiver, had another touchdown catch. Was my guy Nino Hill? He's 62 in the touchdown. So their offense is starting to take form, led by Cam Montgomery. He's doing a great job leading that offense. On the other side, Lake is getting beat up. 4 starters down. Out of them 4 starters, 2 of them is their top 2 quarterbacks. So you're going into the game pretty much playing with your third quarterback. Ethan Hunt is out. Ethan Hunt is probably their best playmaker. Charlie Christopher is their best football player, but without Ethan Hunt, their best playmaker, it hurt them. And more importantly, they was down their top 2 punt returners because they muffed 3 punts. You know what I mean? So that ended up coming back to kill them. You know what I mean? When you're in high school, it's hard to find multiple guys that can go back there and that can go back there and catch the ball first with confidence and secure the ball, let alone make a play. You could tell without Ethan Hunt and a couple other guys, they was down to some other guys that probably ain't used to being back there, end up muffing 3 punts. You can't do that playing against a team like Camp McKinley. But they still had some guys played a good football. Junior Davis Matson, 28 rushes, 128, 2 touchdowns. Senior Ohio U commit Charlie Christopher, he went to work, 28 for 109 and a touchdown, also 12 tackles on defense. So Lake is a solid program. They are a tough, gritty group. You know what I mean? Tough, gritty group. If they can get healthy going into the playoffs, that's the type of team you don't want to play early in the playoffs because they're not scared of you. They're tough. They're physical. And they got some playmakers. They just got to get healthy. Right. And they also play in the Federal League. So they're playing Madison, Jackson, Camp McKinley, Lake, Perry, so Green. So they're playing good quality football programs. So if they can get healthy going into the playoffs, they can be trouble. So that's the Stellascope recap, baby. That's the Stellascope recap, man, right there. 3 good games, man, good programs. That's getting ready to gear up for the playoffs right there.
Yeah, speaking of gearing up for the playoffs, it's just I'm noticing a constant theme, like defense and quarterback play is coming more and more into play as we get deeper into the season. But definitely 3 great games. Hoban. The first thing we talked about, we was getting the score updates as they're like, Hoban, we were like, check the box score. Because we wasn't sold on that offense. We kind of foreseen them trying to, like we said last week, figuring it out on the offensive side. But when you got guys like Juice Boykins and Eli Lee, you can really, they can buy you time to figure out your offense with a stout defense.
With a defense like that, for
with
sure.
a defense like that. So they was able to pitch a shutout against a very electric Glenville
young,
team,
talented team,
with some playmakers who just knocked off the Division I 3-time state champs.
Just beat theirs. So that's a big time
shout
win.
out to that Hoban defense,
bouncing back for sure.
And same thing, Fitch, quarterback play. They figuring it out. They figuring it out. So maybe even the focus changes in preparation.
Yeah,
trying to get that quarterback play together, maybe the defense.
Like you said, quarterback play and defense take you a long way. If you got a running game with that, so your offense is balanced with the defense, now you're cooking with fish grease.
Right.
Now you're cooking with fish
if you
grease.
needed one more example, look like we talked about last year at this time, Cam McKinley started to go off the rails. Yep. Cam Montgomery is a way different type of quarterback than Keaton Rhodes is. Yep. Where Keaton Rhodes was more of a leadership, rally around.
Right, more of a point guard, distributor type of guy. Right.
You got more solid quarterback play, which you don't have to lean on Nino Hill and a lot of those other guys, and he could spread that thing around to some more they playmakers. So that's the Stellascope recap. 3 great games.
You know it, baby.
And looking forward to more football, man. It's getting crunch time, man.
Week 9 coming.
LB checking in, man. Keep it locked in, but in between the lines with Coach Stella, you feel me? You did.